Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Morning Scone. A little late today, but not by design. I've actually tried to record this 3 times now to keep getting interrupted. So, in any event, we're going to roll. Hey, please hit the subscribe button down there if you have not done so yet. And please patronize our sponsor, Boudreaux's Mix. They got the Bloody Mary mix, the Margarita mix. It's so easy. Shake, pour, add your favorite libation, be it your tequila or your vodka, and then you're ready to go and enjoy it. Boudreaux'sMix.com. Support a great local company. Alexander's, Calvin's, Calandro's has it in the greater Baton Rouge area. And you can learn more online, Boudreaux'sMix.com. And on their social media. See, they're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So check it out, Boudreaux's Mix and Boudreaux'sMix.com. We appreciate them for sponsoring Morning Scone. So a trifecta of topics. We had LSU baseball, basketball, and football, one of each to do today. Let me start with baseball. Team is wheels up to Corvallis today. Paul Mainieri met with the media yesterday and disclosed that Mikael Hilliard will not be available until at the earliest Game 3. So there were some reports of some shoulder soreness at the end of the SEC tournament, and that's very telling. Why obviously they didn't bring Mikael Hilliard back, and maybe as a freshman he's getting close to that freshman wall, more innings than he's ever thrown before. But you knew something was up when Mainieri was on Sirius XM radio yesterday morning with Peter Burns and Marcus Spears and said that Hilliard wouldn't be available until Game 3 at the earliest because they wanted to get him full rest. Well, the red flag, went up because Hilliard pitched on Wednesday. If they hold him till Game 3 on Sunday, that would be 10 days rest. These guys normally pitch on 6 days rest and then sometimes 5 days rest when they do the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Literally every other pitcher would have pitched since Hilliard did on Wednesday. So the full rest thing was curious. It kind of let you know there was something else up there. By the way, Paul Mainieri, Alan Dunn, absolutely doing the right thing. If Hilliard needs the extra time, don't rush him. He's a freshman. He's got his whole future ahead of him. Don't compromise him. Get him the rest he needs. So that's absolutely the right call. But in my opinion now, this makes the decision easy. You got to throw Nick Bush in Game 1, and you got to save Zach Hess for a potential matchup against Oregon State in the second round in the marble game, provided you win it. Because if it were Hilliard and Hess that you were deciding how to manage in those first 2 games, the question is much more difficult. But in this instance, you want Zach Hess to go up against Luke Heimlich in that potential matchup in the winner's bracket game, in the marble game on Saturday night. And Nick Bush, you got to feel like, can go out and beat San Diego State. And in part, it feels like that decision is easier because San Diego State doesn't have a true hammer. If this were a 1-versus-4 game at the box, like where LSU was playing Texas Southern or something like that, like they have in the past, that's an easy decision. Lehigh, you manage your way through Game 1 in the 1-versus-4, and you save your ace for Game 2. They did it with Lang last year. They did it with Nola when they'd save him for the marble game. It's what you do. So this is a little different, but I think you've got to save Hess for Game 2. It just puts more risk into Game 1. Starting Bush, but I think that's what you got to do, and that makes it easier as well because of the emergence of Cam Sanders and Hoover. Remember, the tough part about starting Bush was you felt like you were losing your best, left-handed arm and best long relief guy out of the bullpen. Well, Sanders is a righty, but because he was so dominant in Hoover, he's kind of emerged now as your best long relief option. I mean, he had 3 appearances in Hoover, and he was just nails. 8 1/3, 12 strikeouts, no walks. He was awesome. So you feel like if you have to go long relief in any one of those games, even after Bush, say Bush gives you 4 or 5 and you need someone to eat up 2-3 innings, you feel like Sanders can give you that if you need it. And because San Diego State doesn't have that they have in the past. I mean, remember, Steven Strasburg pitched at San Diego State. They've had that guy in the past where it's like, you run into an ace on a Friday night, you could lose, even if that's the best they have. A guy shows up as a freshman, he gets better over the next 2 years, and then all of a sudden he's a bona fide ace as a junior. Well, San Diego State doesn't have that guy per se on this team, the guy with, the 130 strikeouts, even 100 strikeouts. Their Friday night guy has less than a strikeout per inning. So pitch to contact, let's see if the bats can get going and give the pitcher on Friday night a boost. My guess is Or if you're asking me what I would do, I'd hate to guess. I'd go Bush on Friday and save Zach Hess for a potential game against Oregon State on Saturday. Two other bits of news I want to get to here today. Tremont Waters on Instagram last night announced he will return to LSU, and that's fantastic news. And this is relevant because we talked about it yesterday on AFR. Waters just yesterday had a workout with the Atlanta Hawks. So all along, I just assumed Waters was going to come back, right? He tested the draft Waters. He wasn't going to be a draftable prospect, but it was this year. But the longer it goes, and today's the deadline, by the way. May 30th is the deadline, 11:59 tonight, that players have to make their decision to return to school or stay in the draft. And so I kind of always assumed that Waters was going to come back, but when he takes it right up to the deadline and he's having workouts with NBA teams still on the second to last day, you kind of like, wait a minute. You need to be concerned about this? So Waters posted on Instagram. He said it was a blessing that words can't describe to be able to go through the process. Quote, I grasp greater understanding of the difference between college and the NBA. It's done nothing but help me grow and understand the severity of the next level. He said he knows in his heart that he can be an NBA player. But he went on to say, I feel it's best I return to LSU this year to improve as a player, teammate, most importantly, a young man. Many know this. Many will figure this out. Many will feel it firsthand. The squad has some unfinished business. So Waters is coming back. That's a huge boost, obviously, for LSU with the number 5 signing class in the country coming in with 5 stars like Naz Reid and Emmett Williams. You got Javonte Smart, Darius Days. Remember Cavell Bigby Williams, the Oregon transfer, played in the Final Four a few years ago. He's eligible, fantastic rim protector, which is something LSU did not have a year ago. And now you add sort of like the engine with Tremont Waters to that mix, and I don't know how the expectation is anything but NCAA tournament for LSU basketball next season. So that's great news. Tremont Waters is coming back to LSU. And one more note here. LSU football, over the weekend they got a commit for this year from a place kicker, and yesterday they got a commit from a quarterback. So it's always big news, of course, when LSU football gets a quarterback commit. But this kid is for 2020, so he's going to be a high school junior this upcoming year. So he's a rising junior. He's got 2 years of high school left. He's from Ponchatoula, and his name is TJ Finley. Here's why I love this news, okay? 6'6", 210. He's a rising junior, okay? 6'6", 210. He is the number 9 pro-style quarterback in the country for 2020. He's got offers from Bama, Kentucky, Tech, Louisiana Tech, North Carolina, and then LSU offered him on Sunday, and he called Ed Ogeron Tuesday to commit. Hank Tierney is the coach at Ponchatoula. And Tierney was a longtime coach at Shaw. Many people know who he is. And Tierney's whole career has been an option quarterback, an option coach. He's run option offenses. Had guys like Chiron Carey and the Joseph boys from at Shaw. Anyway, Hank Tierney told NOLA.com that he's like, I've run the option my whole life. I tried. He said, I've run the option personally since 1985, a pure option offense. We changed everything that we do when we got him. We didn't at first. We tried to run the option when we got him, but his skill set was so good throwing the ball and things of that nature, we just had to change it. High school, any coaches don't change their system overnight, and certainly not because of one player. But Hank Tierney, who's run the option for 30-plus years, has said, no, we changed it for this kid. And here's the other thing I love about it. So big, obviously huge, 6'6", 210. He's got offers from Alabama and everybody. He's an in-state kid. He's already committed 2 days after he got the offer, which tells you he wants to be here. So, I mean, they got to hold on to him for 2 years. So we'll talk about that certainly over the next 2 years. But here's what I love most about this, okay? If there was one major legit complaint, from me anyway, about the way that LSU had recruited quarterbacks in the past, it was that, I've said this so many times, for every Russell Shepard, there was a Chris Garrett. For every Jarrett Lee, there was a Jordan Jefferson. For every Stephen Rivers, there was an Anthony Jennings. Like, they could not pick what style of quarterback they wanted. Did you want a dual threat? Did you want a pro style? Did you want a pocket passer? Did you want someone mobile? They couldn't pick. For every Miles Brennan, there was a Lowell Narcisse. Like, there was one of the reasons LSU struggled so much at quarterback for so many years is that they couldn't decide what type of quarterback they wanted, what type of offense they wanted to run, and who they wanted pulling the trigger. Now you look at LSU, Ed Orgeron signed Brennan and Narcisse. Obviously you needed to, and they got to, but Brennan's a pro style. You added Joe Burrow, pro style. Now for 2020, TJ Finley, pro style. You're gonna have to sign a quarterback for 2019. You can't miss a cycle, especially now with the assumption that someone's going to transfer because you brought in Joe Burrow as a grad transfer. But it appears very clear that Ed Orgeron, Steve Ensmingers are building this offense. They want pro style quarterbacks. So thank you. If Ed Orgeron wants to build his offense like USC in the early 2000s, go find pro-style quarterbacks and dynamic running backs that can be that type of offense. Like I'm not sitting here making this prediction like it's going to work and they're going to win championships, but at least it's a plan. Like it's a very clear plan of what you want within your offense and from your quarterback. So that is fantastic to see. So LSU got a commit from TJ Finley, a 2020 quarterback out of Ponchatoula. So he's got 2 years. He said, you look how it plays out. I could start as a freshman. Obviously, that would be after Joe Burrow, but that's also assuming that Miles Brennan doesn't stick around. So I don't know if I see that. But nonetheless, that's a long, long ways away. But the good news is LSU got a quarterback commit, which is always good news. A big-time prospect for 2020, and he's a pro-style guy, so it fits what they want to do. Hey, Drew's here. I thought we were going to go the whole episode today without seeing you. Depot. You like Home Depot? You want to go? Go. All right. Just about going to do it for us. Hit the subscribe button if you've not done so yet. Please check out Boudreaux's, the Bloody Mary mix, the Margarita mix. Great people there. Local company. Darren's a Homa guy. Vanderbilt Catholic shout out. Hi. So sweet. He's putting his chin on my arm. I don't know if you can see that. Hi. Mama. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We appreciate y'all for being here. Please hit the subscribe button and please buy Boudreaux's mix and follow them on all their social media and thank them for supporting Morning Scone. Until tomorrow, y'all.